Okay, guys, it is time. Today, I'm going to unveil how I solved my biggest financial problem and how you could do the same thing in 24 months or less. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like you're trapped in a vicious cycle of not enough time or money? You're watching all your dreams slip away while everybody else seems to be living the life of their dreams? Me too. What if every single one of your money problems, I'm talking not enough income, all that debt, money fights with your spouse, funding that dream vacation, or maybe the fear that you'll never be able to retire? What if all of those could disappear with one very simple solution? What if? What if there was a very affordable, legitimate option to fund the life of your dreams in as little as 20 to 24 months? Did you hear that? That's 12 to 24 months. Now, hold up for a minute. Hold up. Don't tune me out. This is not your parents' or grandparents' retirement plan. This isn't another get rich quick scheme. It's a brand new framework for generating fast cash and building wealth for today's economy. And no, you don't need a lot of cash, credit, or a second mortgage to do it. What you may not realize is that over time, we have been conditioned to think that it's absolutely impossible for everyday people like us to get wealthy. Earn cash fast? It's got to be a scam. Remember that time 100 years ago when you lost money in that scam? Yeah, well, that's probably the same thing as this one, right? Hmm. Got a great business idea? Well, you're going to need lots of cash, credit, and know how for that. You better go develop a relationship with that local banker and get yourself a business loan. Hey, did you hear about that great idea that's sure to go public and make its investors filthy rich? Too bad. Big government says you don't qualify because you don't make enough income and your net worth is too low. After all, they do know what's best for us, right? Want to retire early, retire rich, live the life of your dreams? Are you crazy? Come on, guys, you better play it safe. Work for 30, 40 years in a good paying job that you hate with a boss you despise. Fund that 401k. You're going to be set. Sound familiar or sound a bit ludicrous? But guys, these are the stories that most of us have grown up with and are ingrained in our heads and our hearts, and we think it's the truth. But in reality, in this day and age, the age of the internet, they're actually false, and I can prove it. I'm going to bring you the receipts. I'm very excited today to be sharing what over the last 5 years that I've met and worked with thousands of entrepreneurs around the globe who are actually proving every single day that is it indeed possible to earn cash fast, build wealth, and live the life of your dreams in a relatively short period of time. I'm talking days, weeks, months, not years. Most of us don't have enough time left for the old school methods, so it's time that we need to change strategies. It's time for everyday people to experience what I'm calling a financial fitness revolution. So, over the next few days, I'm going to be sharing a series of stories about people just like you and me who face these exact same challenges. They're stories of grandparents, students, entrepreneurs, and even recent divorcees who found a revolutionary way to solve their biggest financial problems. So, if you're ready to stop worrying about money and start building the life you deserve, I want you to stay tuned because each story that I'm going to share is going to reveal how a different person or a family plans to use this system to transform their lives over the next 24 months. Follow along, and you might just discover one of these stories is going to hold the key to unlocking your own financial potential. If you'd like to learn more, I want you to click on the wow button and type hashtag show me the money in the comments. I'll send you a link to a free webinar to see if you're a good fit. But for right now, I'm going to start us off with my personal backstory. I want us all to be kind of on the same page so you can understand where I'm coming from. So my husband, he was shot in the Iraqi war, which forced a 7-year early retirement. Those 7 years that we lost were important because this was the time that we had planned to fund my personal retirement. Those plans were shattered the moment that I got that knock on my door. Here I was, almost to the finish line, and had no financial means to finish. So I was starting out at ground zero. So I did what most people would do. I contacted the professionals, the financial advisors, because they could help me with my little math problem, right? Because after all, that's what it was. It was just a little math problem. One by one, they told me that what I wanted to do was impossible. But the good news was I wasn't the only one. Most people were in my very same shoes or soon would be. Retirees were being forced to go back to work and help ends meet. I don't know about you, but have you noticed at your local Walmart and your grocery stores how many elderly people are stocking shelves and working behind the cash register? So I knew that was true. Many had to postpone retirement due to their 401ks, or more like 201ks. And once COVID hit, they told me it didn't take people long to figure out that although they had all this stuff, you know, that stuff that comes with a lot of debt, the reality was that they were just 30, 60, 90 days away from a repo, eviction, or a foreclosure. We call this big hat, no cattle. If you can relate to that and you know somebody like that, type in the comments, hashtag no cattle. So I then asked about, non-traditional, unconventional methods. After all, I was a serial entrepreneur. They quickly told me that those were reserved for accredited investors, and I didn't qualify based on my net worth and annual income. Well, I sat up in my chair all proud and everything, and I said, well, guess what? I do qualify because, in case you don't know, there's this little part of that definition that qualifies me based on my education, background, and experience. She just looked at me and stared. She didn't say a word because she knew fully good and well that although I did technically qualify as an accredited investor, I didn't have the liquid cash to use for any of these type investments. So I guess somehow all these advisors that I met with thought this information and reality check would somehow be soothing, or it would, I would just give up or something. But I'm no quitter. Again, it's just a stupid math problem, right? And I'm good at math. So in the back of my mind, I was listening to all this junk, and stinking thinking started to set in and tried to make me lose hope. I knew firsthand how difficult it was going to be to try and have to live off of social insecurity, simply because I had watched my dear mama and my mother-in-law struggle. I mean, struggle, y'all, to try and scrape by after both of their husbands passed away. No way I wanted to go down that path if at all I could prevent it. So after a bit and a lot of prayer, I received what I considered an epiphany from God. If I could find a way to solve my little math problem, I could help all of those other people who were in the same boat as me. This could literally transform the lives of millions of people around the globe, not just here in the United States, but around the globe. So I suddenly felt a level of excitement start welling up inside of me, and it replaced y'all, I was angry, I was bitter, I had fear. All that stuff had been gnawing at me 24/7 around the clock. So my first step was I need to get around some different people. I need to get around some people who had a different mindset than all that traditional old school way of thinking. People who could think outside the box. People that would encourage me, inspire me, and challenge me. And people that actually believed that my little math problem could be solved. Oh, I knew who these people were. I just didn't know where they were all congregating online right now yet. Those people are entrepreneurs, and those are my people. So after 5 years of networking, interviewing tribes and tribes of entrepreneurs, and I tested opportunity after opportunity, I finally found a solution to my little math problem. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to share it with you, along with some very important tips that I've learned along the way. So here's some tips from the trenches. And as we go through this, you'll learn my secret to how I solved my financial problem. So after years of investing in countless opportunities and learning the hard way, I've discovered a painful truth. One single bad investment can wipe out your hard-earned money and any hope you have for your future. The traditional methods, the old school way, are a ticking time bomb, and eventually you're going to run out of time, money, and patience. What if I told you there's a better way? A way to actually invest without ever dipping into your savings, never arguing with your spouse or family over money again, or having to start back at square one. I'm going to share the single most important strategy I've ever learned, and it all starts with a cash machine. My name is Nancy Gaskins, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an investor. I'm a private lender and a financial coach. I train investors. I've invested in more business opportunities than most people will ever encounter in their lifetime. I'm not telling you this to boast. I'm telling you this so I can share all of my mistakes with you so you don't have to make them. Here's some key things. If you're like me and countless other people, you want an affordable option to fund the life of your dreams. You wake up one day and realize you're not living the life of your dreams. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. A 9-to-5 W-2 job is not going to cut it unless you leverage part of that paycheck and learn how to invest. A set it and forget it strategy like a 401k, it's better than not doing anything at all. But in my opinion, life's way too short. There's no guarantee of tomorrow. And I don't want to be cash poor now and have to wait until my golden years to be able to access and enjoy any earnings that may or may not be there. I also want more control over where my money is being invested in, and I want to feel more control of my financial future. And a 401k for me personally doesn't give it to me. Yes, investing is risky. There's a risk in everything, including walking across the street or getting out of bed each morning. You can minimize risk, but you can never eliminate it 100%. But here's the key. You'll miss 100% of the shots you never take. This means you can never win if you never get in the game to begin with. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be an all-star player or you have to be the one with the ball in your hands. It just means you have to be in the game. Investing doesn't have to be hard. Investing doesn't have to be crazy risky. Investing doesn't have to take up all your time. It doesn't require you to win the lottery, rob a bank, or sell your firstborn just to participate. You don't need lots of cash, credit, or income, but you do need the right connections. Investing comes in many forms, and you just got to pick one that you fully understand, one that you feel comfortable with, and one that actually has the potential to help you reach your financial goals. You got to be able to sleep well at night, guys. Don't ever risk more than you can afford to lose, and you've got to learn how to mitigate and minimize risk. Losing money stinks. Losing other people's money stinks even worse, especially if it's your friend and family's money. I don't like or enjoy losing money. Neither does anybody else. Am I right or am I right? Type hashtag right down there in the comments. If you were to put all your eggs in one basket, I know you heard this before, but just listen to me. If you put all your eggs in one basket, investing all your cash into one single project, and it happens to go south, you've lost all your money and you got to start back at ground zero, scrambling to come up with more money to invest in another project. Has this ever happened to you? Type hashtag been there, done that. If you spread out your eggs among multiple baskets, again, you've heard this before, meaning that you take your cash and you spread it out among multiple investments, you minimize your risk. But, guys, listen to me. If the worst case scenario happens again, what happens? You can lose all your money. And once again, you got to start back at ground zero, square one, scrambling to come up with more money to invest in yet another project. Type hashtag diversify in the comments. But after you lose enough of those eggs, most people will eventually run out of time, money, and patience. More than likely, you'll become disheartened, you're going to lose hope, and you're going to just quit trying. Am I right or am I right? Based on these experiences, you now think that investing doesn't work or it just won't work for you. But what if there was a better way? What if there was a much better way? Here's what I did to solve all those problems for myself, and you can do the same. After spending the last 5 years in the trenches, testing opportunity after opportunity, finding myself 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, I decided that there had to be a better way. And boy, was I right. So what did I do? I built a cash machine that turns off a steady stream of cash each and every month. I designated this particular cash machine specifically to fund all my investment activities, nothing else. That's all it could be used for. This way, I never have to dip into my savings, household income, or sell stuff on Marketplace to find any other business adventures. This strategy also totally eliminates any arguments with your spouse, family, or friends over money. Type hashtag no more fights in the comments. Using this strategy, it might take a little longer and a little more capital up front to get the cash machine built, but once I had to fund this, but I only had to fund this ATM machine one time. And just like clockwork, it spits out cash month after month, year after year into perpetuity. That means forever. So now, no matter what, if my monthly investment projects do well or not, the next month, I've got another stream of income coming in right behind it that I can use to invest in another project. Boom. Over time, risk now has become less of a worry or a stressor. This strategy allows me to sleep well at night, regardless of the outcome of any single investment. Because I no longer have to worry so much about losing money on any one investment, I now have an empire of investments. I can afford to invest in high reward projects, those that have the potential to provide above average returns, which is what I needed, like double and triple digit returns in some cases. Double boom, boom, boom. Does this make sense to you? Can you see how powerful this strategy is? If so, type hashtag boom in the comments. So here's the ultimate offer. Now that I have a proven, battle-tested strategy that will work for anybody, regardless of their past or present financial circumstances, I want to use it to help other people. My goal is to introduce this cash machine system to the 278 million households across America and give them the tools and resources that I have access to that they need to implement this strategy into their own life. Can you imagine the impact? 278 million households building cash machines and using that money to invest for their financial future. So I'm asking you today to join me in my efforts to transform the lives of potentially millions of families across America, including yours. Here's how you can help. You can click that wow button, type hashtag show me the money in the comments, and by sharing my video stories across social media. If you'd like to see if this system can work for you, you can send me a DM or I can send you a link to a free webinar that I'm going to be hosting. We need to look and see if this is going to be a good fit for you. The link will be in the comments. As all, referrals are appreciated and rewarded. This is Nancy Gaskins, sowing seeds of hope and financial opportunity in communities around the globe. Let's connect, partner, and profit.